So we do have some important things to do right before, as we're giving the offering. I want you to give your attention to Randy and Sonya. They're going to share about kind of an immediate need that we have in the church, and an immediate need to be kind and welcoming. So let's give it up for Randy and Sonya.
Well, I grew up in the United Methodist Church, like many of you may have also. This old brick came from an old church that my parents, my grandparents were all a part of. Randy and I donated money, and then they put a plaque on there that we got married in that church in a small town in Illinois. But we donated money that would go to building a new church building after 69 years.
So my faith story is a little bit different than Sonia's, quite a bit less consistent. We moved around a lot when I was a young kid, and then finally I found a home in this town where Sonya actually lived. And I attended this church where I had the brick. That brick is quite heavy, from 1970 to 73. So that brick was from 1910. It was 60 years before I ever hit the door of that church. So if that makes any sense to you, it was the idea for me that people that went far before me had a vision for their church, and a young guy like me who probably gave $25 to that church over 3 years was accepted into that church. And I just think that, it's when you think about giving of your resources, that's an important point to think about all the people that have gone before us through here and will yet go through this church in the years to come. Okay, first slide.
So we know that Pastor Brooke is going to be retiring soon. And we will miss him dearly, but we have a wonderful new family, a young family coming to be a part of Bear Creek, and we are very, very excited. This is Mike and Susanna, and she goes by Suze. Lauren, the little boy, is age 3, and Adrian is 3. Mike is originally from New Jersey, East Coast. Suze is from California. Mike went to Duke Divinity School, and he has served at the Pocatello, Idaho United Methodist Church for almost 5 years now. I remember what it was like to move to the West Coast from Indianapolis 42 years ago. We had a dog, a 3-year-old, and one well on the way. Randy was starting a new job. We were looking for a new home. We had no family, and we had no friends yet. Our neighborhood and our church became our family. No different than Mike and Suze and their family, this will be their new journey. Exciting and sometimes anxious feelings too. I would love and wish if we could be that church family for them, welcoming, opening up our arms in hospitality and love for them, with a parsonage and home that is warm, safe, refreshed, renewed, inviting, and exciting.
So we have a picture of the parsonage right here, and I'm sure a lot of you might not even know that we had a parsonage, but here it is. It's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles from here, over the other side of the Cottage Lake Park. We have actually rented it out for the last 5 years to a former office manager of this church. We've owned it actually since the 1990s. The house was built in the late 60s. And of course, you probably at this point figure out that I'm going to be talking a little bit about money, but the one thing I want to say early on is that this church, when you look at our facilities, what we have, and that parsonage, we have a total debt right now of about $100,000 against, you pick a number, Andrew actually pointed this out yesterday, and I actually wrote that in. This is probably we probably have $4 million worth of facilities or whatever, and we owe $100,000 right now. So we're in good shape. I want to make sure people understand that. This parsonage is on 2 stories. It's split level house. And if you look, there's a deck off to the right, which needs huge work. It's been a nemesis for the trustees for a long time, but we have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old coming into this church, and that's the number one priority. So, so we've got things to deal with there. And then if you want to go to the next slide, Cindy, Mike Connor and I have been trading some emails back and forth, a lot of it about all the way down to they're going to bring their Speed Queen washer and dryer. You know, I mean, they're getting ready to make the move. But in one of those emails, he wrote to me, he said, "Let me share how grateful I am that Bear Creek United Methodist Church has a parsonage. At this moment in our lives, it is an immense relief that you have a parsonage." And that was Reverend Connor. And so I want to say that I've been all over the place with this parsonage, but the facts are that that parsonage has allowed us to bring a couple in that we may well not have been able to attract to this church without having that parsonage. Go ahead, Sonia.
Yeah, we need to raise funds to adequately house the Connor family. This is no doubt that we need some immediate, strong cash donations. Other donations could come monthly if you are able. This is an urgent request at this time to get their home to a good, happy place so that they can arrive in just 3 short months with a welcome feeling of the Bear Creek community here. Our initial welcome will be their first impression and for their new journey. Randy and I will be doing both. We will give a cash donation as well as some monthly payments, but all contributions, large or small, will be a tremendous help for the Parsonage project.
So the trustees have been meeting for a long time about this whole parsonage thing, and we were lucky enough also to pick up a couple of guys with huge contractor experience in their lives, Adrian and Jeff, for example. And so we've got estimates, and we've been pounding those down and, you know, getting there. But if you want to show that next slide, number 5 there, the timeline of this is all pretty tight. Everything has to be accomplished by June the 15th. I have said to Mike and his family that from June 20th on, they'll be able to occupy that parsonage. So, you know, our timeline here is pretty tight. We've applied for a loan with the Faith Foundation, who we have a big track record with. They financed $850,000 of this building back in the day. So, Chuck Porter and I talked to them early this week. It looks encouraging, but they're also nervous about us taking on, you know, more payments. So anyway, in the end, we will move forward with this project, and we hope to start by April the 15th. But we need to make a down payment of $20,000 on April 1st and sign a contract in order to make it all work out. You know, to make a start date April 15th, be done by June 15th. You know, we need to get rolling. The total budget for the project is $200,000. Although the trustees, I can tell you, we're working ourselves at $150,000. And if you knock sales tax off, that's about $135,000 that we have to work with. So you can be assured we're going to take care of your money. That's for sure. Next part of it is, I won't spend a lot of time on this, but we've got a plan as to far as, I'll call it pecking order. You know, that deck is first, flooring is next, painting the inside is next, bathrooms. You know, we'll work our way down the schedule, and we have a contractor who we believe would do an excellent job. We've met with him a couple of times, and I've been talking to him daily. And so anyway, it will still be left for us to do some electrical kind of work and also landscaping kind of work. There's no landscaping built into this, so it's all about you know, taking care of the landscaping ourselves and hopefully with the scouts. So kind of concluding in this whole thing, Sonya and I would like for you to prayerfully consider how you could help. We're asking for high participation, like I say, whether small amounts, large amounts, but if we get high participation, we'll make it. we'll make it work. And so we're asking you to take a good look at that. There's a yellow card, that is in the seats right now. But we've also put on the website, it's called the Parsonage Project. And so if you're a person that likes to do electronic giving, you can go, on the where it says the give category and go down and you'll find one that says Parsonage Project. Or this same card is also on the website, if you like to do it that way. We do have a pretty hard deadline here. If you follow the schedule, basically between finance and the trustees, come March 29th, we're going to need to make a decision. If we're going to make the timeline, we're going to have to make a decision. So come Sunday night, March 29th, we're going to see where we're at, and we'll move forward, whatever that should mean. So I would like the trustees that are in the room to stand up if they would. I see Adrian and Jeff and Mark, and our other two trustees are Karen Danner and Scott Palazzola, but all of us are pretty deep in this thing, and so if you have questions you want to ask any of us, we'll either we'll answer your questions or steer you to someone who can. So I thank you for their hard work. Yeah.
So we do thank you very much for considering this toward our Parsonage project and invite you to be a part. Yeah.
Thanks much. That's the card, yeah.
Yeah.
Say again?
What do we do with
You can put them in.
That's an excellent question. You can turn it in the offering plate. Put an envelope if you want to around it, and put it in the offering plate is a way to go. And
it's on the table?
yeah, the offering plates.
Oh, have we taken the offering? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
So
there we
there's, yeah, you can just put that on the table.
Put them in there. Or, like I say, we'll be doing this for the next couple of weeks. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.